Welcome to the Brain Pick a Pro Show, live from Lake Wiley, South Carolina, and all the way in Florida. My good friend James Hawk. This guy is a master marketer. He's a wholesaler. He's a mover. He's a shaker. He's doing a ton of deals. And I got to tell you, we got the chance to hang out in Phoenix a few weeks ago. And man, there was a party going on, a big luau, and the whole time I'm picking this guy's brain, right? So I'm learning everything I can from him. And I'm like, man, I'm glad I don't drink anymore so I can remember all this stuff. But please make a warm welcome, James Hawk. What's going on, buddy?
Oh man, thank you. Thanks for having me on, man. I I feel like you built me up too much there,
Man, I got to tell you, man, it really was cool hanging out with you, though. And I hope you didn't mind all those questions I was asking because, I've been doing this for 30 plus years, but I'm always wanting to learn from people who are out there in the trenches and doing it. And I can always learn something, right? I mean, you and I both teach this stuff, but we can always learn more, right?
Right. No, absolutely, man. I enjoyed speaking with you as well. I mean, geez, man. I mean, you've been doing it so long. You're a wealth of knowledge. I mean, it's just incredible being able to, just talk with people like you that's been doing it, and has all that experience. And man, I mean, you brought up a good point. It is true, man. It's getting tough out there. So anyone that you can, join with and, meet up with and kind of hang out, and network, it's just, it's critical now, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Why don't you start out and tell our listeners a little bit about yourself? I mean, I could tell them you've bought and sold over 1,000 houses, and you've bought and sold over $40 million worth of real estate. But, tell them a little bit about who is James Hawk?
Well, so it's interesting, right? I never went to college. I would say that I barely graduated high school.
I know that feeling. I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, and all it was is, like in middle school, I was, honor roll, did all the right things, got to high school, started looking, going down the wrong road a little bit.
Started looking at girls and cars.
Your focus shifts and just being a teenage boy.
Yeah, you start focusing on girls and cars.
Right, and that's pretty much what happened. And instead of going to college, I pretty much just went straight out of high school into doing construction.
Right.
I was actually in masonry, so I was laying brick.
Wow, that's a tough gig.
Yeah, it is, man. It is. I mean, I do not envy those guys that are out there doing that. It is a tough job. And doesn't pay for what you have to do either.
It's tough work, man. And your arms stay skin up, like throwing a column of brick up to the next level, right?
Yeah. No, it is, man. It's tough.
You know what I'm talking about.
So after that, I actually got involved with this bridge company. Whenever I got hired on there, I mean, I didn't know anything about steel fabrication, about how to read, like plans to, fabricate a bridge or anything at all, how to weld.
Right.
But I started at the bottom and I ended up working my way up. I think I was there about 4 years. And when I left, I actually run 2 departments. And I had a bunch of welding certifications. I was a certified fitter. For like girders and stuff like that. We actually did the Woodrow Wilson in DC.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the newer one. It was on like Mega Builders on the Discovery Channel.
Wow.
That company was. Yeah, so it was pretty cool. But when I was doing that, I mean, there was always something inside of me that I was just always attracted to real estate. So I started doing it part-time. And, like I had a close friend of mine. I was going to be an agent. That's what I wanted to do. And he was wholesaling.
Right.
He kind of kept his cards to his chest. Didn't really, he didn't let me know too much.
Right.
I guess he didn't want the competition. It really, there wasn't an abundance mindset there. But anyway, I started, just diving in, man, learning everything that I can. I remember watching like Mike Jake YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Because back then there wasn't a whole lot out there. Like you couldn't just, find, a million courses everywhere and a million videos on what to do. So anyway, I just got started, man. I was working night shift. I would work at night. During the day, I would do real estate all day. And I did that, for about a year and a half straight. And then finally, I got my second deal, which was like a $20,000 deal. And then I just quit, man, and went all in.
I hear you. That's awesome. That is awesome. Now, you're in the Florida market, right?
Right.
Yeah. What part of Florida are you in?
We're in Jacksonville.
Okay.
So we primarily work in like the Northeast Florida area, and then also a little bit of Central Florida, like Orlando.
Right. And you know what, man? It's right now the market is tough. You've got to be a good marketer to get deals, right?
100%, man. Like a lot of people are going to be left behind if they're not dialing in on the marketing.
That's so true. That's so true. So share with the listeners a little bit about, what does your business look like? I mean, you primarily wholesale, right?
Right. So we primarily wholesale. I would say that about 5% of our business is new construction and some rehabbing.
Right.
A couple years ago, it was more so like, probably like 70-30. We did more of it, but we've shifted away more from, the new construction rehabbing, man, just because of, all the logistics and the scalability. We both know with wholesaling, it's not very difficult to scale that up. Currently we have about 8 people on our team. And we're doing a good amount of deals every month, and we're also looking to scale that even more. With the marketing side of things, we send about 100,000 plus pieces of mail a month.
100,000 pieces of mail.
Yeah,
man, yeah. That's huge. That costs you a lot of money.
Yeah, it costs a whole hell of a lot of money.
So.
And one thing I'll say, though, is I think it's important for everyone to know that when you're talking about anything marketing related, that, this is a common misconception that a lot of people, obviously you know this, but a lot of people probably don't, is they always think of it as like, oh, man, that's so much money. And they look at it like it's an expense, but we both know that it's really an investment.
That's so true. Every piece has an ROI on it.
Right.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Now, you mentioned you have 8 people. Tell us a little bit about your business structure, if you don't mind.
Sure. So we have a full-time transaction coordinator / like office manager.
Right.
We have 2 lead coordinators. We have a full-time marketing person on staff.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have 2 what we call home buying specialists. And then we have a full-time dispositions.
2 of those? Two acquisitions?
2 acquisitions, yeah.
Uh-huh. That's good. And then you have 2 lead managers. What share with everybody, what is a lead manager? What do they do?
Sure. Basically what we have them do is any of the marketing, the incoming calls, the web form submissions, whatever it is, basically it's their responsibility to answer those calls live or to get back to people as soon as possible, and then also follow up. So our whole back-end follow-up system ties into them as well, and so we're making sure that we're getting to people as soon as possible, but then we're also the long term we're following up with people over time, because if you know a lot about this business and you've done a lot of marketing for people out there, it's like the follow-up is really everything, because at the end of the day, that money that you're spending, if you're not following up over time, then you're losing the majority of everything that you're spending in marketing.
That's true. So true, because especially in direct mail, it takes a little while to get that pipeline built up.
It does.
And even if you send out 100,000 pieces, you might close, I don't know how many you might close, 5 or 10 on that, but also 5 or 10 of those deals, or 3 or 5 of them might be 6 months or a year down the road, right?
That's true, man. It's true. It's an accumulation effect with mail, and especially because you have so many people out there doing it. Another thing with mail that I suggest to people all the time is don't just send go on one of the websites, like whichever one, mail house that someone might use,
Right.
and then just pick one of the bare bone like templates and then just send that out all the time. I would say, like, once you've scaled up, I mean, those are fine to get started, but once you start actually scaling and developing a real business, start doing stuff a little bit different, because you really need to stand out. I mean, there's a lot of people sending mail, and you know what? At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how many people are sending; it still works.
Right.
I mean, I don't care what market you're in, where you're at; it always does work. But yeah, I would say that as you grow, try doing some different stuff than what everyone else is doing.
Right. Now, one of the big things now a lot of people are talking about and have been for a while is the Street View postcards. Are you doing any of those?
Yeah, we do. We actually have a custom one that we created that's like a hybrid. So it's like half Street View, and then it's also like half handwritten, and it absolutely crushes it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, it crushes it.
That's awesome. So explain for everybody what that Street View thing is. They may not understand that.
Yeah, so what it is basically, it depends on your mail house. Not every mail company it can actually do it, but certain ones, all they're doing is basically taking your mailing list and integrating it with Google Maps, and then they're pulling in like a variable of like the street, the front picture of the house,
right.
Street View from Google. Right. Is what they're doing, and they're putting that on the postcard or letter, which is really cool.
Yeah, because when somebody gets a postcard, they look, hey, that's a picture of my house.
Right, right.
And they literally think somebody drove by the front of the house and took a picture of it and put it on the postcard.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, with those also, I mean, you're going to definitely, as far as like on the, the upset scale, you're definitely going to get some on the heavier side, like more around the 9 or the 10, that are really upset about it. But at the same time, it's like, look, you can't worry about that. Right. You got to send them. I mean, these people that get upset about, you sending them mail, it's like, look, I mean, Walmart sends you mail every week, or Winn-Dixie sends you mail. It just is what it is, and you can't let that bother you.
Right. And the problem is they don't have anything else better to do.
And that's usually it as well, right? It's usually like, the older couple that really don't have anything else to do. They're retired, and they're like, I'm going to call this person and give him a what's for.
Right, exactly. Honey, look what they did. They've been out here stalking us.
yeah, I know.
That's funny. So one of the most important things about direct mail is not only the piece that you send out, but also the list. Tell us a little bit about how to find a good list, what makes a good list, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so and that's a good question. I mean, because that is super, super important with mail. What we do is we have a bunch of different lists, right? I would recommend for anyone starting out or it's newer, you stick with like the distress type list.
Right.
And those would be like tax delinquent, probate, eviction, divorce, those type of lists. And believe it or not, even this is an interesting list, and depending on where you are, it could be hit or miss, but we send it. So I'll just share it anyway, and that's yard sales and estate sales.
Really?
Yeah. So we actually mail to yard sales and estate sales, and it works. I mean, there's usually not that many of them, so it's not that big of a cost. But we've had success with it, and we send them anyway, just because. I mean, it's not that much money, and we've gotten deals from it. But I would say stick with the distress list in the beginning, and then as you scale, then you can move more into like the big lists, like the equity and the absentee owners and the owner occupieds. And, I mean, we both know that does get really expensive depending on your market. There's usually a lot of those. And we use listability, by the way, for like our big list, our equity list. That's who we use.
Right. Your absentee owners list.
You're right.
Yeah. And then do you just pull your own eviction and tax delinquent and stuff like that?
Yeah, we do. We actually have a VA that we call our data specialist, and she pulls all of our lists every week. So she goes into the county records and pulls all the divorce, all the probate, all the evictions, and all that other stuff.
Uh-huh. So tell us a little bit about frequency. A lot of people, I've heard from new investors, oh, I tried direct mail and it doesn't work. So let's talk a little bit about consistency in direct mail because, and like sequence, how often you mail somebody, how many times you mail somebody, that sort of thing.
Sure. And I'm going to tell you right now, that is really the main point in this entire conversation of direct mail. In my opinion, if you're not consistent, like if you're not willing to commit to mail somebody 4 or 5 times, I would say don't mail them at all. Right. I mean, it's a long-term strategy. You will get deals in the beginning, but it's a long-term and it's the accumulation effect. So, right. I mean, frequency, like I think that you should at least mail your list, every list that you have, at least once a month. And I don't think that you should go any further out than that because other people are probably doing it and you need to stay top of mind. So as far as consistency, I mean, if you can, I recommend mailing at least something every single week, but never let a particular list go over a month, in my opinion.
Right. So what you're saying is if you mail 100,000 pieces a month, you're probably mailing 25,000 a week.
Right. Exactly.
And then on the 5th week, it starts over.
Right.
How often do you pull a new list?
I would say that we mail. So what we try to do is we do like a cycle of 5. So once we've mailed a list 5 times, then we'll recycle it.
Right. And then your data person, your VA, they're just adding to it, probably adding new evictions, new probate, stuff like that.
That's exactly right. So throughout the cycle, they're adding it, and then we're just mailing it over and over every month. And then once we get to that 5th time, we'll save it and then hit it again, like at the end of the year, once, and then we'll also be starting a new one as well.
Right. I've had a lot of investors that tell me, well, I tried this and I had a lot of undeliverables, got a lot of returns. I just throw them in the trash can. Tell them what they should be doing with those.
Oh, yeah. You should 100% be sending those out, getting them skip traced and try to get phone numbers or, updated mailing addresses. I mean, those are gold. Right. Is really what, those are. Because really what's happening is no one else is getting to them. So you have a huge opportunity there to be in front of somebody that no one else is really hitting. So they 100% need to be going after those people.
That's awesome. Now, with your list, do you also append the list and do like Facebook custom audience or telemarket the list as well?
So we actually do. With Facebook ads, we definitely create custom audiences with all of our lists.
Yeah, explain that a little bit first. If you don't mind.
Yeah, so basically what you're doing is you're uploading the list into your Facebook Ads Manager account, right? And you're going to create an audience based on, you can do it a few different ways, right? Like you can append it and say, try to get like the emails or phone numbers for them and then target them based on that. But we typically target it based on their address.
Right.
And then you're just going to run ads, right, to them that are specific for whatever that list is. If it's a divorce, then, create like a custom ad that's related to that, but not in a, don't be cheesy about it and kind of like, dirtbaggy. Like you got to do it the right way, but it can be really effective for sure.
That's really cool because like if you have a list, let's say you have a list, of eviction list, right? These are landlords that have just evicted somebody, right? And they're probably a tired, don't want her landlord, or could be, right? So you take that list and you upload it to Facebook knowing it's an eviction list. So then you create an ad that says, are you sick and tired of dealing with tenants?
Right.
Sell your house for cash now, and your ad is only seen by those people. Man, that's like shooting fish in a barrel, right?
No, it is, man. I mean, it's highly effective, and I mean, unfortunately, with Facebook ads, I mean, it seems like a lot of people struggle with it. But we average about $40 for a really good lead on Facebook, and that's over across the board. Average of all our campaigns.
That's great. That's great. Let's talk a little bit about tracking.
Sure.
I mean, you've got a list for eviction, for probate, for absentee owner, for divorce, whatever. You've got a lot of lists. How do you determine? Well, this divorce thing is not working. I want to forget that. Because you want to track your different lists. So
Right.
Share with people how you do that.
Yeah, so every list and every mail piece will have its own phone number, obviously, and its own campaign. So that's basically how it's tracked. Within our CRM, we have all the different campaigns programmed in there. All the different data points for every piece and every list. So we make sure that every mail piece and every campaign, or every list, I should say, they have their own individual, like phone number and different type of mail piece. That way we can track it.
Right. So like if you're sending out 100,000, but let's say 20,000 of it is eviction or 10,000 is eviction.
Right.
So those 10,000 are going to have a separate number that you probably use CallRail, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, we do use CallRail.
Yeah, callrail.com, guys. It's great. I use it, and you can set up different numbers for different tracking. So when a call comes in, to your lead manager, you probably have it set up to where the caller ID is the actual number, and they have it
Right.
programmed in their phone so they can see, eviction list call. And they answer the
Yep.
phone, and they know it's a landlord that just went through an eviction, so they know kind of how to handle that call, right?
Yep, that's basically exactly it. I mean, we always know when the phone rings, we know what that list is, who it's coming from, and also, we have, the call's always recorded when it's incoming. So,
Right.
yeah, no, we definitely know who's calling at all times.
That's good. And then your lead manager, if they answer the phone, they manually put it into Podio, right? Is that the way they do it?
And no, actually, it automatically goes into Podio.
Even if they answer it live?
Yeah, even if they answer it live,
Okay.
it'll go in there and then they can fill it out
Okay,
as
cool.
as they're talking to them.
We do it a little bit different because my guys are saying, I get some leads that are just hate mail, or they're calling to complain, or I was just curious or something. So,
Right.
so they manually put it in, and if they don't answer it live, then they leave a voicemail message and then it gets put into Podio, if they don't answer it live. So,
Right. And I don't think there's a wrong way. I mean,
Right.
I think that it just comes down to preference, At the end of the day, I think that's just really, it's really preference and whatever works best,
Right. So let's talk a little bit about follow-up, because you're not going to get every sale on every appointment. I think you told me when we were hanging out a couple weeks ago that if they'll book an appointment, you want an appointment, right?
100%.
Yeah, that's good. So if they want to, if they'll let the lead manager book an appointment for an acquisition person, that acquisition person is going to run that lead, run that appointment, and regardless of whatever else. But if they'll let them in the house, they'll run that appointment, and then they can follow up from there. What kind of follow up do you have if they don't get the deal immediately?
Right. And I mean, man, it gets pretty intense depending on every different situation. I mean, we really have it broken out, almost like in a mind map kind of way, or like a flow chart. Like if they do this, you do that. If they do that, then, or if this happens, then we're going to do this on this time. So
Right.
It gets really in depth. But the high level view would be, it's usually a combination of emails, different, like specialty type mailings, then phone calls, voicemail blasts, and then, text messages. and it's like a combination of those over time, and it all depends on where that lead came from, what happened with the lead. So it gets pretty intense, but yeah, I mean, either way you look at it, like, you got to be doing something,
right?
You got to be doing something. Rather, I mean, maybe you're only doing, like, voicemail blasts and text or emails or something, but always just do something.
Exactly. You've got to be following up with them because, like you said, a lot of those sales are going to come 3, 6, 12 months down the road.
Yeah. I mean, and I know you know this. I mean, how many times have you probably done deals that came from maybe a postcard or a letter you sent like 3 or 4 years ago?
Exactly.
I mean, it happens to us all the time.
I bet. I believe it. I believe it. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, your marketing person,
Right.
I'm sure they're doing a lot more than say, the direct mail or whatever.
Sure.
I'm sure they're doing a lot more than that. What are some of the things that your marketing person does?
Right. I mean, so he manages obviously all the mail campaigns. He helps manage all the Facebook ad campaigns. Also, all the AdWords and all the Bing PPC.
Right.
We do that. And then he also, now that we're about to be on the radio, he's also, heading that up, managing those campaigns. And then he's also been working on campaigns for TV as well lately. So he's always busy. I can tell you that.
Man, he sounds like a rock star. You could hire him out.
Yeah, we keep him pretty busy.
I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. Now, you've got a podcast and soon to be a radio show too, right?
Yeah, no, we did.
Yeah, that's awesome. Flip Fuel. I see your mic thing there.
Yeah, Flip Fuel.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And your podcast talks a lot about marketing, right?
Right. It's primarily about the marketing aspect for real estate investors. And I mean, we both know that historically, in real estate investors, like, I mean, marketing is a full-time thing, man. I mean, historically, they're just not the greatest marketers, and we're in the marketing business. So I thought, why not kind of bring that a little bit more mainstream and share what I know, and share with a lot of people that, that are in my network, that they know about marketing. That's everything from how to get the deal, to sell the deal, and everything else. So that's pretty much the long and short about what it is.
That's really, really good. That's really good. So James, if somebody wanted to reach out to you or wanted to connect with you or check out your podcast or whatever, how would they reach out to you guys?
Sure. I mean, they can, obviously the podcast Flip Fuel Show, it's on iTunes. You can easily find that there. And then, I'm all over social media, at Flip Fuel. So that's Instagram, Facebook. And then, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, I'm more than happy to talk with anybody. If anyone has any questions, I can help them in any way.
That's cool. That is good. Man, this has been awesome. It really has been. Listen, man, I got a page full of notes here. That's really good. Just like I started writing stuff down when we were standing around at the luau chatting. I'm like, I got to write this down.
Man, it's always great speaking with you, man. I appreciate you having me on for sure.
That's awesome. Is there anything we can do for you?
I mean, look, I am going to be releasing, this Facebook ads course. I'm giving it away for free, though. I'm not charging anything for it, and it's a full course about how to do Facebook ads to get sellers the right way. It's almost done. It'll be released probably in the next week or so, and that's going to be at flipmorehouses.com. If someone, from your audience wants to get it.
Flipmorehouses.com. Man,
That's it. Man.
I'm going to be the first one to go over there and grab it when it's ready. That's awesome.
Yeah, so it'll be up probably within like a week, and the domain and everything will be hooked up to the site, and we'll be ready to rock and roll.
That sounds great. Well, man, I really, really appreciate you being on. It's been awesome. It's a lot of great stuff. Do you have any parting words of wisdom to maybe somebody out there that's struggling with their marketing? Because marketing is the lifeblood of any business, right? So do you have any parting words of wisdom?
It really is. I mean, I'll just echo really what you said earlier, because it just is. It's true. It's consistency. What I'll say is, like, always you need to be consistent with your marketing. Always at least have 3 channels going, right? That's another important point. Like, never just put all your eggs in one basket, because then if something breaks or it's not working right, now all of a sudden you're not doing deals because you only have one iron in the fire. So always at least have 3. And I mean, us personally, we have, over double that, but I suggest at least 3 channels going at all times. And then if something breaks and, like, you get stuck, like, don't be afraid to reach out to people and try, ask for help and network with people and try to figure out what it is. Don't quit just because you have some issues. That's going to happen.
Right.
So just keep going.
That's true. That's so true. That's so true. I've got a saying I've said for years. I would rather have 10 ways to find one property than one way to have to find 10.
100%, man. That's so true. So true.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Hey, man, I really, really appreciate you being on. This is great. It's really good. I got a couple things I'm going to implement in my direct mail business now, and I'm so excited about it. And thank you so much for sharing. And guys, listen up. I want you to go out there and sign up and start listening to his Flip Fuel podcast, and make sure you go over there and grab his free course. I mean, it's free. What do you want for nothing? Your money back? Right?
You're right. All right. Well, thank you, man, so much. I really appreciate you having me on.
All right. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. It's great to see you.
You too, man. Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot.